Welcome to Lunar Reflections, where we slow down, think deeper, and rediscover what truly matters in life. If you're tired of chasing things that don't fulfill you, this channel is for you. Make sure to subscribe and be part of a space that values meaning over noise. Now, let's begin. In today's world, success is everywhere. It's in the cars people drive, the houses they post online, the promotions they celebrate, and the numbers that define their worth: followers, income, titles, and achievements. From a very young age, we are taught directly or indirectly that success is the ultimate goal. We are encouraged to get good grades so we can attend prestigious schools, land high-paying jobs, and build lives that look impressive from the outside. Society applauds those who make it, often without asking deeper questions about how they got there or who they became along the way. Scroll through social media for just a few minutes, and you'll see carefully curated snapshots of what success is supposed to look like. People posing with luxury items, sharing milestones, announcing accomplishments. It creates a powerful illusion that success is something visible, measurable, and comparable. And once that illusion takes hold, it's easy to start chasing it relentlessly. We begin to measure ourselves against others, constantly asking, am I ahead or falling behind? Without realizing it, we step onto a treadmill that never stops. But in the middle of this race, something important often gets lost. What does it really mean to be successful? Is it simply about achieving goals, accumulating wealth, and gaining recognition? Or is there something deeper, something less visible, but far more meaningful, that defines a person's true worth? This is where the wisdom of Albert Einstein becomes especially powerful. He once said, "Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value." At first glance, this statement may seem surprising, even counterintuitive. After all, isn't success what everyone strives for? Isn't it the very thing we're told will bring happiness, security, and respect? And yet, Einstein's words challenge that assumption. They invite us to pause and reconsider what we are truly pursuing, because the truth is, success, at least as society defines it, can be shallow. It can be temporary. It can even be misleading. A person can achieve great success and still feel empty inside. They can be admired by many and yet disconnected from themselves. History and modern life alike are filled with examples of individuals who reached the top, only to realize that something essential was missing. On the other hand, a person of value is defined not by what they have, but by who they are. Their worth comes from their character, their integrity, their ability to contribute positively to the lives of others. They are guided by principles rather than appearances, by purpose rather than pressure. And while their achievements may or may not be widely recognized, their impact is often deeper and more lasting. This raises an important question, one that each of us must answer for ourselves. Are we chasing success, or are we building value? In a culture that constantly pushes us to do more, earn more, and be more in the eyes of others, it takes awareness and courage to shift our focus inward. It requires us to redefine what winning really means. Instead of asking, how can I get ahead? We begin to ask, how can I grow? Instead of focusing only on outcomes, we start paying attention to the kind of person we are becoming in the process. This shift is not easy. It goes against the current of modern life, but it is essential. Because in the end, success without value is fragile. It can disappear as quickly as it comes. But value, real, deeply rooted value, endures. It shapes not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. It is what earns trust, builds meaningful relationships, and creates a sense of fulfillment that no external achievement can replace. Einstein's message is not a rejection of success, but a redefinition of it. He is not telling us to stop striving, but to strive for the right things, to focus on becoming someone who matters, not just someone who stands out. And perhaps that is the most important distinction of all. Because when we focus solely on success, we risk losing ourselves in the process. But when we focus on value, success, whatever form it takes, becomes a byproduct, not the destination. So before we set our next goal, before we chase the next milestone, it may be worth asking, what kind of person am I becoming? Because in the end, that answer will matter far more than any measure of success the world can offer. To fully understand the depth of Albert Einstein's statement, try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value, we must first take a closer look at the key ideas within it. At its core, this quote draws a clear distinction between two different life paths, the pursuit of success and the pursuit of value. While these paths may sometimes overlap, they are not the same, and confusing one for the other can lead to very different outcomes in both personal fulfillment and long-term impact. Let's begin by examining what is commonly meant by a man of success. In modern society, success is often defined by external achievements. It is something that can be seen, measured, and compared. A successful person is typically someone who has reached a high level of accomplishment in their field, whether that be in business, academics, entertainment, or any other competitive arena. Success is associated with wealth, status, recognition, and influence. It is reflected in job titles, bank accounts, awards, and public admiration. Because of this, success tends to be highly visible. It is the kind of thing that others can point to and say, that person has made it. And naturally, this visibility makes success attractive. It becomes something people aspire to, not only for the benefits it brings, but also for the validation it provides. Being seen as successful often means being accepted, respected, and even envied. However, there is a subtle but important limitation to this definition. Success, as it is commonly understood, depends heavily on external standards. What counts as success can vary from one culture to another, from one generation to the next, and even from one person to another. In one context, success might mean financial wealth. In another, it might mean fame or power. Because these standards are constantly shifting, success itself can be unstable. What is celebrated today be forgotten tomorrow. More importantly, success does not necessarily reflect who a person truly is. It tells us what they have achieved, but not how they achieved it. It shows us the outcome, but not the character behind it. A person can reach great heights of success while compromising their integrity, neglecting their relationships, or losing sight of their values. In such cases, success becomes more of a surface-level label than a meaningful measure of a person's worth. This is where the idea of a man of value comes in, a concept that is both deeper and more enduring. Unlike success, value is not primarily about external achievements. It is about internal qualities. A person of value is someone who possesses strong character, clear principles, and a genuine desire to contribute positively to the world around them. Their worth is not determined by what they have, but by who they are. Value is reflected in traits such as honesty, responsibility, empathy, resilience, and integrity. It is seen in the way a person treats others, especially when there is nothing to gain. It is demonstrated through consistent actions, not occasional achievements. A person of value does not act based on what will bring the most recognition, but on what is right, meaningful, and beneficial in the long run. One of the key differences between success and value lies in their source. Success is often driven by external motivation, the desire for reward, approval, or status. Value, on the other hand, is rooted in internal motivation, the desire to grow, to do good, and to live with purpose. This distinction is crucial because it affects not only what a person does, but why they do it. When someone is focused solely on success, their decisions may be guided by questions like, will this make me look good? Or, will this help me get ahead? While these questions are not necessarily wrong, they can lead to choices that prioritize short-term gains over long-term integrity. In contrast, a person focused on value is more likely to ask, is this the right thing to do? Or does this align with who I want to be? These questions encourage a deeper level of reflection and responsibility. Another important aspect of value is that it is not dependent on recognition. A person of value may or may not be widely known. They may not receive awards or public praise, but their impact is real and meaningful, often in ways that are not immediately visible. They may influence others through their kindness, support their communities through their actions, or inspire change simply by living according to their principles. In this sense, value is more sustainable than success. While success can fluctuate with circumstances, value tends to remain consistent. It is something that a person carries with them, regardless of their situation. Even in times of failure or difficulty, a person of value retains their sense of self and their ability to contribute meaningfully. Einstein's quote, therefore, is not a rejection of success, but a warning against making it the primary goal. He is reminding us that success, by itself, is not enough. Without value, success can become hollow and impressive exterior with little substance underneath. But when value comes first, success, if it comes at all, is built on a solid foundation. In other words, the quote encourages a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, how can I become successful? We are invited to ask, how can I become valuable? This shift may seem subtle, but it has profound implications. It changes the focus from outcomes to character, from appearance to substance, from external validation to internal growth. Ultimately, Einstein's message is about redefining what truly matters. It challenges the common belief that success is the ultimate measure of a person's life. Instead, it suggests that the real measure lies in the kind of person we become, the values we uphold, the choices we make, and the impact we have on others. And in a world that often prioritizes what is visible over what is meaningful, this perspective is not only refreshing, but necessary. One of the most important reasons why value matters more than success lies in the nature of each. Success is often temporary, while value is enduring. Although success can be impressive and rewarding, it is also fragile. It depends heavily on external circumstances, market trends, public opinion, opportunities, and even luck. Because of this, success can rise quickly, but it can also disappear just as fast. In today's fast-paced world, what is considered successful can change overnight. A business that thrives today may struggle tomorrow due to competition or economic shifts. A public figure who is widely admired can lose their reputation in a matter of days. Even personal achievements, such as a promotion or an award, may lose their significance over time as new goals and expectations take their place. This constant cycle reveals a hard truth. Success, as it is commonly defined, is not stable. Moreover, success often depends on how others perceive us. It is shaped by recognition, approval, and comparison. When those external factors change, the sense of success can weaken or even vanish. This is why many people who appear successful on the outside still feel uncertain or unfulfilled on the inside. Their identity becomes tied to something that is constantly shifting, leaving them without a solid foundation when circumstances change. In contrast, value operates on a completely different level. It is not dependent on trends, opinions, or temporary conditions. Value is rooted in who a person is, their character, their principles, and the way they consistently choose to act. These qualities do not disappear when external success fades. In fact, they often become even more important during difficult times. A person of value remains respected not because of what they have achieved, but because of how they have lived. Their honesty, integrity, and sense of responsibility build trust over time, and trust is something that cannot be easily taken away. Even if they experience failure or setbacks, their value remains intact. People continue to believe in them, support them, and respect them not for their success, but for their character. This enduring nature of value also means that its impact lasts longer. Success may be remembered for a moment, but value leaves a deeper impression. A kind act, a principled decision, or a life lived with integrity can influence others in ways that go far beyond recognition or reward. These are the things that shape relationships, strengthen communities, and create lasting meaning. In this sense, Value provides something that success cannot: stability. It gives a person a clear sense of identity that does not depend on external validation. It allows them to navigate both success and failure without losing themselves. While success may come and go, value remains as a constant guiding force that defines not just what a person achieves, but who they truly are. This is why focusing on value is ultimately more meaningful. It builds a foundation that cannot be easily shaken, ensuring that even in a changing world, a person's worth remains strong and lasting. Another compelling reason why value is more important than success is that people who possess real value often create success, a natural outcome of who they are. In other words, when a person focuses on developing strong character, meaningful skills, and a sense of purpose, success is no longer something they have to chase relentlessly. It becomes something that follows them over time. At first glance, this idea may seem idealistic. Many people believe that success requires aggressive ambition, strategic networking, or even a willingness to compromise. While these factors can sometimes produce short-term results, they rarely lead to sustainable or fulfilling success. What truly sustains success in the long run is not just what a person does, but the kind of person they are. A person of value brings something deeper to everything they pursue. Their work is driven by commitment, responsibility, and a genuine desire to do things well. They are not only focused on outcomes, but also on the process, on learning, improving, and contributing. Because of this mindset, they tend to build strong foundations in whatever they do. Their skills are not superficial, their efforts are not careless, and their intentions are not purely self-serving. Over time, these qualities begin to compound. A person who is reliable earns trust. A person who is honest builds credibility. A person who is disciplined develops expertise. These are not traits that guarantee instant success, but they create the conditions for success to grow steadily and sustainably. Opportunities are more likely to come to those who are trusted and respected. And when those opportunities arise, a person of value is prepared to make the most of them. In contrast, someone who focuses only on achieving success may overlook these deeper qualities. They might seek shortcuts, prioritize appearances, or chase quick wins. While this approach can sometimes lead to visible achievements, it often lacks stability. Without a strong foundation of value, success becomes difficult to maintain. Trust can be broken, reputations can collapse, and progress can quickly reverse. Another important aspect is that people of value tend to create meaningful relationships because they act with integrity and respect. Others are more willing to support them, collaborate with them, and invest in their growth. These relationships are not based on convenience or personal gain, but on mutual respect and shared values. In many cases, it is these connections that open doors to new opportunities and long-term success. Furthermore, a person of value is better equipped to handle failure. Instead of being defined by setbacks, they learn from them. Their sense of worth is not tied solely to their achievements, so they are less likely to give up when things go wrong. This resilience allows them to keep moving forward, improving, and eventually succeeding in ways that are both meaningful and lasting. Ultimately, success that grows out of value is different from success that is chased for its own sake. It is more stable, more authentic, and more fulfilling. It is not just about reaching a certain position or gaining recognition, but about becoming someone capable of creating and sustaining that success over time. This is why focusing on value is such a powerful approach. It shifts the emphasis from external results to internal growth, and when that growth is genuine, success is no longer something distant or uncertain. It becomes a natural extension of the person you have worked to become. Beyond personal growth and long-term success, one of the most meaningful reasons why value matters more than success is its ability to positively influence other people. While success often centers on individual achievement, value extends outward. It shapes how we treat others, how we contribute to our communities, and ultimately, how we leave a mark on the world. Success, as it is commonly understood, is often personal. It is measured by what an individual gains: wealth, recognition, or status. While these accomplishments can be admirable, they do not automatically benefit others. A person can achieve great success and still have little positive impact on the people around them. In some cases, the pursuit of success can even come at the expense of others, especially when competition, ego, or self-interest take priority over fairness and empathy. In contrast, a person of value naturally creates a positive ripple effect. Their actions are guided not only by personal goals, but also by an awareness of how those actions affect others. They treat people with respect, offer help without expecting immediate rewards, and make decisions with a sense of responsibility that goes beyond themselves. These qualities may not always be visible on the surface, but they have a powerful and lasting influence. For example, a person who consistently acts with kindness can change the atmosphere of an entire environment. In a workplace, they can build trust and encourage collaboration. In a family, they can create a sense of safety and support. In a community, they can inspire others to act with the same level of care and integrity. These impacts may not be measured in numbers or awards, but they are deeply felt and widely shared. What makes value so powerful is its ability to spread. When people experience honesty, generosity, or compassion, they are more likely to reflect those qualities in their own behavior. In this way, one person's value can influence many others, creating a chain reaction of positive change. This is something that success alone cannot guarantee. Success may attract attention, but value earns respect and inspires imitation. Another important aspect is that value builds meaningful connections. Relationships based on trust, sincerity, and mutual respect are stronger and more lasting than those built on status or advantage. A person of value is not only admired, but also trusted, and trust is the foundation of any meaningful human connection. Over time, these relationships become a source of support, collaboration, and shared growth. Furthermore, value contributes to a sense of purpose that goes beyond individual achievement. When a person knows that their actions are making a difference in the lives of others, their work becomes more meaningful. They are not just pursuing goals for personal gain, but contributing to something larger than themselves. This sense of purpose brings a deeper level of fulfillment that success alone often cannot provide. In the end, the true measure of a person's life is not only what they achieve, but how they affect others. Success may define a moment, but value defines a legacy. It is what people remember, what they carry forward, and what continues to make a difference long after specific achievements have faded. This is why value holds greater importance. It transforms personal growth into shared benefit, turning individual effort into collective impact. And in doing so, it gives life a meaning that extends far beyond the limits of success alone. In order to fully appreciate the significance of prioritizing value over success, it is important to examine the current reality of modern society. Today, more than ever, people are surrounded by powerful messages that define success in narrow and often superficial ways. These messages come from many directions: media, education systems, social expectations, and especially digital platforms, and together, they shape how individuals think about their goals, their identity, and their worth. One of the most noticeable aspects of modern society is the intense pressure to achieve visible success. From an early age, individuals are encouraged to compete, to stand out, and to prove themselves through measurable results. Academic performance, career advancement, income level, and social status are often treated as the primary indicators of a person's value. While striving for excellence is not inherently wrong, the problem arises when these external markers become the sole focus, overshadowing deeper qualities such as character, integrity, and purpose. The rise of social media has amplified this issue in unprecedented ways. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook have created environments where success is constantly displayed, compared, and consumed. People are exposed to carefully curated versions of others' lives, highlight reels that emphasize achievements, appearances, and lifestyles that seem desirable. Over time, this creates a distorted perception of reality, where success appears not only attainable, but expected. As a result, many individuals begin to measure themselves against these standards. They compare their progress, their possessions, and even their personal lives to what they see online. This comparison often leads to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and a constant sense of falling behind. Instead of focusing on personal growth or meaningful contribution, the emphasis shifts toward keeping up with others, gaining approval, and maintaining an image. In this environment, the pursuit of success can become disconnected from genuine value. People may prioritize what looks impressive over what is meaningful. They may make choices based on what will gain attention rather than what aligns with their principles. In some cases, this leads to behaviors that compromise integrity, such as exaggerating achievements, seeking shortcuts, or engaging in dishonest practices to get ahead. Another concerning trend is the normalization of performance over authenticity. Individuals feel the need to present a polished version of themselves at all times, even if it does not reflect their true experiences. Success becomes a performance, something to be displayed rather than something to be deeply understood. This creates a gap between appearance and reality, where people may seem successful on the outside while struggling internally with stress, emptiness, or a lack of direction. Moreover, the fast-paced nature of modern life reinforces the idea that success must be achieved quickly. There is a growing expectation for immediate results, rapid growth, and constant progress. Patience, long-term development, and character building are often overlooked because they do not produce instant recognition. This mindset can lead individuals to undervalue the slow, steady process of becoming a person of value, choosing instead to chase quick achievements that may not be sustainable. The consequences of this mindset are significant. When success is pursued without a foundation of value, it often leads to instability. Achievements may be gained, but they are difficult to maintain. Relationships may be formed, but they lack depth and trust. Personal satisfaction may be reached, but it is often temporary. Over time, this can result in burnout, disillusionment, and a sense that something important is missing. At the same time, society sometimes overlooks or undervalues those who quietly embody true value. Individuals who act with integrity, who support others, and who contribute meaningfully without seeking recognition may not receive the same level of attention as those who achieve visible success. This imbalance can create the false impression that value is less important, when in reality, it is the very foundation upon which meaningful success is built. It is also worth noting that this focus on success can influence not only individuals, but entire systems. In some professional environments, for example, results may be prioritized over ethics. In competitive settings, outcomes may be valued more than the methods used to achieve them. While this can drive short-term performance, it can also erode trust and create long-term problems. Despite these challenges, there is a growing awareness that this approach is not sustainable. More people are beginning to question the traditional definitions of success and to seek deeper meaning in their lives. They are recognizing that external achievements alone do not guarantee fulfillment, and that true satisfaction comes from living in alignment with one's values. This shift, however, requires conscious effort. It means resisting the pressure to conform to superficial standards and choosing instead to focus on what truly matters. It involves redefining success in a way that includes not only what we achieve, but who we become in the process. In this context, the message of Albert Einstein becomes especially relevant. His words serve as a reminder that while success may be celebrated, it is value that sustains, influences, and gives life genuine meaning. And in a society that often prioritizes appearance over substance, this reminder is more important than ever. Understanding the importance of value is only the first step. The more challenging and more meaningful question is how to actually become a person of value in everyday life. Unlike success, which is often measured by clear milestones, becoming a person of value is a continuous process. It is not defined by a single achievement, but by consistent choices, habits, and attitudes over time. It requires intentional effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to grow beyond comfort. One of the most fundamental aspects of becoming a person of value is developing a strong sense of self. This begins with understanding who you are, what you believe in, and what truly matters to you. Without this clarity, it is easy to be influenced by external pressures and expectations. People may find themselves chasing goals that are not aligned with their true values, simply because those goals are socially accepted or widely admired. Taking the time to reflect through quiet thinking, journaling, or honest self-questioning helps build a solid internal foundation. It allows a person to act with intention rather than reaction. Closely connected to self-awareness is the development of character. Character is the core of value. It is reflected in qualities such as honesty, integrity, responsibility, and humility. These traits are not formed overnight. They are built through repeated decisions, especially in moments when it would be easier to choose otherwise. For example, telling the truth when it is uncomfortable, taking responsibility for mistakes instead of avoiding them, or treating others with respect even when there is no benefit in return. These small but consistent actions shape a person's character over time and ultimately define their value. Another essential element is the pursuit of growth. A person of value is not someone who is perfect, but someone who is committed to improving. This includes developing knowledge, refining skills, and expanding perspectives. Learning should not be driven solely by the desire for achievement, but by genuine curiosity and a commitment to becoming better. Whether it is through formal education, reading, experience, or mentorship, continuous learning strengthens both competence and confidence. It equips a person to contribute more effectively and to navigate challenges with greater understanding. At the same time, growth must be balanced with humility. As individuals gain knowledge and experience, it is important to remain open-minded and aware of limitations. A person of value does not assume they have all the answers. Instead, they listen, learn from others, and remain willing to change when presented with new insights. This humility not only fosters personal development, but also strengthens relationships, as others feel respected and heard. Equally important is the way a person treats others. Value is not something that exists in isolation, it is expressed through interactions. Kindness, empathy, and respect are essential qualities that define how a person impacts those around them. This does not mean always agreeing with others, but it does mean approaching people with understanding and fairness. Taking the time to listen, offering support when needed, and recognizing the humanity in others are all ways to create meaningful connections. Over time, these actions build trust, and trust is one of the strongest indicators of true value. Responsibility is another key component. A person of value takes ownership of their actions, decisions, and their consequences. Instead of blaming external factors or other people, they focus on what they can control and how they can improve. This sense of accountability creates reliability, and reliability builds credibility. Whether in personal relationships, work environments, or broader communities, being someone others can depend on a powerful form of value. In addition, having a sense of purpose plays a crucial role. Purpose provides direction and meaning beyond immediate goals. It answers the question of why a person does what they do. A person of value is often guided by a desire to contribute to make a positive difference, no matter how small. This purpose does not have to be grand or world-changing. It can be found in everyday actions, helping others, doing one's work with care, or simply striving to leave things better than they were before. What matters is the intention behind the action. It is also important to recognize that becoming a person of value requires patience. In a world that often rewards quick results, the process of building value can feel slow. There may be times when efforts go unnoticed, when progress seems limited, or when others appear to advance more quickly through different means. During these moments, it is easy to feel discouraged. However, value is not about immediate recognition. It is about long-term impact and consistency. Trust, respect, and meaningful influence take time to develop, but once established, they are far more lasting than temporary achievements. Another critical aspect is resilience. Life inevitably involves challenges, setbacks, and failures. A person of value does not avoid these experiences, but learns from them. Instead of being defined by failure, they use it as an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. This resilience is rooted in a stable sense of self, one that is not entirely dependent on success or external validation. It allows a person to continue moving forward with purpose, even in difficult circumstances. Finally, becoming a person of value involves aligning actions with principles. It is not enough to know what is right. It is necessary to act on it. Consistency between beliefs and behavior is what creates authenticity. When a person's actions reflect their values, they build integrity. And integrity is one of the most powerful forms of value a person can possess. In essence, becoming a person of value is not about reaching a final destination, but about committing to a way of living. It is about making choices that reflect who you want to be, even when those choices are not the easiest or the most rewarding in the short term. Over time, these choices shape not only individual character, but also the impact a person has on the world around them. And while success may or may not follow, one thing becomes certain: a life built on value is a life that carries meaning, stability, and lasting significance. Asterisk. While the idea of prioritizing value over success is both compelling and meaningful, it is also important to consider a broader and more balanced perspective. Interpreting the statement, "Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value," in an overly rigid way can lead to misunderstandings. It might suggest that success is unimportant or even undesirable, which is not the intention behind the message. In reality, success and value are not opposites, they are deeply connected. The key lies not in rejecting success, but in understanding its proper role. To begin with, success does have real and undeniable benefits. It provides opportunities, resources, and influence that can be used for positive purposes. Financial success, for example, can create stability not only for an individual, but also for their family. It can enable access to education, healthcare, and experiences that support personal growth. Professional success can open doors to leadership positions, where a person has the ability to shape decisions, guide others, and contribute to larger systems. From this perspective, success can serve as a powerful tool. It amplifies a person's ability to act, to reach more people, and to make a broader impact. A person with both value and success is often in a stronger position to contribute meaningfully to society than someone who has value alone but lacks the means to express it on a larger scale. For instance, a leader who possesses integrity and empathy can use their position to create fair policies, support their team, and foster a healthy environment. Without that position of success, their influence might remain limited. However, this is exactly where the importance of value becomes clear. Success, by itself, does not determine how it will be used. It simply provides the capacity. What truly matters is the character of the person who holds that success. Without value, success can easily be misused. It can lead to arrogance, exploitation, or decisions driven purely by self-interest. History and modern society offer countless examples of individuals who achieved great success but caused harm because they lacked a strong moral foundation. On the other hand, when success is guided by value, it becomes constructive rather than destructive. It allows individuals to use their achievements as a platform for good. Their decisions are informed not only by what is beneficial for themselves, but also by what is fair, responsible, and meaningful for others. In this sense, value acts as a compass, ensuring that success is directed in the right way. Another important consideration is that success can play a motivational role. For many people, the desire to succeed provides a sense of direction and purpose. It encourages effort, discipline, and perseverance. Setting goals and striving to achieve them can lead to personal growth and the development of important skills. Without any concept of success, individuals might lack the drive needed to reach their potential. However, the problem arises when success becomes the ultimate goal rather than a part of a larger journey. When people focus exclusively on outcomes, they may begin to overlook the importance of how those outcomes are achieved. They may prioritize speed over quality, recognition over authenticity, and results over integrity. This is where the balance must be carefully maintained. A more complete understanding of Einstein's message is that success should not be the foundation of a person's identity. Instead, it should be built upon a foundation of value. In other words, value comes first, and success follows as a natural extension. This order is crucial. When value is established first, it shapes the way success is pursued and experienced. It ensures that achievements are meaningful, sustainable, and aligned with a person's principles. It is also worth noting that success itself can take many forms. It does not have to be limited to wealth or status. A person can be successful in building strong relationships, in contributing to their community, or in achieving personal growth. When success is defined more broadly, it becomes easier to align it with value. Instead of seeing success and value as separate goals, they can be integrated into a unified vision of a meaningful life. Furthermore, there are situations where the absence of success can limit a person's ability to express their value. For example, someone may have strong ideas, compassion, and a desire to help others, but without resources or opportunities, their impact may remain small. In such cases, striving for a certain level of success is not only reasonable but necessary. It enables the person to bring their values into action on a larger scale. At the same time, it is important to remain aware of the potential risks. Success can be distracting. It can create pressure to maintain a certain image or to meet external expectations. It can lead to a focus on comparison rather than personal growth. Without constant self-reflection, even a person who begins with strong values can gradually lose sight of them. This is why the relationship between success and value must be actively managed. It requires ongoing awareness and intentional choices. A person must regularly ask themselves not only what they are achieving, but how and why they are achieving it. They must be willing to adjust their path if it begins to conflict with their principles. Ultimately, the goal is not to choose between success and value, but to place them in the right order. Value should be the foundation, the guiding force that shapes decisions, behavior, and purpose. Success should be the outcome, the result of consistent effort, integrity, and meaningful contribution. In this balanced view, success is no longer something to be avoided or blindly pursued. Instead, it becomes something to be earned and used responsibly. It gains deeper meaning because it is connected to something greater than personal gain. This perspective allows us to fully appreciate the wisdom behind the original statement. It is not a rejection of ambition, but a call for alignment. It reminds us that what we become matters more than what we achieve, and that true success is not defined by external recognition alone, but by the value that supports and sustains it. In the end, the message behind the words of Albert Einstein, "Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value," offers more than just a simple piece of advice. It presents a way of thinking that challenges deeply rooted assumptions about what it means to live a meaningful life. In a world where success is often celebrated as the ultimate goal, this perspective invites us to pause, reflect, and reconsider the direction in which we are heading. Throughout modern society, success is frequently portrayed as the destination. It is seen as the reward for hard work, the proof of one's abilities, and the key to happiness and fulfillment. From an early age, individuals are encouraged to pursue it, measure themselves by it, and define their identity through it. While there is nothing inherently wrong with striving to achieve, the problem arises when success becomes the sole focus, when it overshadows the deeper question of who we are becoming in the process. This is where the distinction between success and value becomes essential. Success, as we have seen, is often external, visible, and subject to change. It can be influenced by circumstances, shaped by perception, and, at times, achieved without a strong moral foundation. Value, on the other hand, is internal, enduring, and deeply connected to character. It is reflected in the way we think, act, and relate to others. It is not something that can be easily measured, but it is something that can be consistently lived by placing value at the center of our lives. We shift our focus from appearances to substance. We begin to care less about how we are perceived and more about who we truly are. This shift does not eliminate ambition or the desire to achieve. Rather, it refines it. It ensures that our goals are aligned with our principles and that our actions reflect our beliefs. In this way, success, if it comes, becomes more meaningful because it is built on a solid and authentic foundation. Moreover, a life guided by value offers a sense of stability that success alone cannot provide. External achievements may rise and fall, but character remains. When challenges arise, and they inevitably do, a person who has developed strong values is better equipped to navigate them with resilience and clarity. They are less likely to lose their sense of identity because it is not dependent solely on outcomes. Instead, it is rooted in something deeper and more consistent. Another important aspect of this perspective is its impact on others. A person who prioritizes value contributes not only to their own growth, but also to the well-being of those around them. Through their actions, they build trust, inspire respect, and create positive change. Their influence may not always be visible or widely recognized, but it is real and lasting. In this sense, value extends beyond the individual, shaping relationships, communities, and even future generations. At the same time, it is important to recognize that this approach does not reject success. Rather, it redefines it. Success is no longer seen as an end in itself, but as a byproduct of living with purpose and integrity. It becomes something that reflects the journey, not something that replaces it. When success is built on value, it is more sustainable, more authentic, and ultimately more fulfilling. This understanding also brings a sense of freedom. When we are no longer driven solely by the need to prove ourselves or to meet external expectations, we can make choices that are more aligned with our true selves. We can take risks, learn from failures, and grow without being defined by temporary outcomes. We can focus on progress rather than perfection, on contribution rather than comparison. Perhaps one of the most powerful questions we can ask ourselves, then, is not how successful am I, but what kind of person am I becoming? This question shifts our attention inward. It encourages reflection, honesty, and intentional living. It reminds us that every decision, no matter how small, contributes to the person we are shaping over time. In a fast-moving world filled with distractions, pressures, and competing definitions of success, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. That is why the message behind Einstein's words remains so relevant. It serves as a guiding principle, a reminder that while achievements may define moments, values define a life. As we move forward, set goals, and pursue our ambitions, we carry with us a choice. We can choose to chase success as an end goal, measuring our worth by what we gain and how we are perceived. Or we can choose to build value, focusing on who we are, how we act, and the impact we have on others. The first path may offer quick recognition, but the second offers lasting meaning. In the end, success may open doors, but it is value that determines what we do once those doors are open. Success may attract attention, but it is value that earns respect. Success may define what we have achieved, but value defines who we are. And when everything else fades, titles, possessions, recognition, it is not success that remains, but the legacy of our values, the way we treated others, the principles we stood by, the difference we made, however small it may seem. That is the true measure of a life well lived. So as we continue on our individual journeys, it is worth remembering that becoming a person of value is not a destination, but a daily commitment. It is found in our choices, our actions, and our willingness to grow. And in that commitment, we may discover something far greater than success. We may discover meaning, purpose, and a sense of fulfillment that endures far beyond any external achievement. Thank you for spending this quiet moment with Luna Reflections. I truly appreciate you being here and listening all the way through. If this story brought you even a little clarity or peace, don't forget to subscribe and stay with us on this journey. Now, as the day comes to an end, I hope you can let go of everything that's been weighing on your mind. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to rest. Wishing you a calm heart, a peaceful mind, and a truly restful night.